So a lot of times we hear from students and they say, I don't have a big circle. I don't have a ton of friends in the school, or I've got friends, but not a lot of friends. So a question we get all the time is, how do I influence, or how do I gain influence? How do I become an influencer in my school? What does that look like? And how do we help students become the influencers that we want them to be to help drive change?
Yeah, it's a good question. So influence is all about relationship.
Yes.
And if you don't have any relationship with someone, you're not going to have influence over them.
Yep.
The heart of someone that is godly, that wants to have influence, is about asking the question, how can I serve you?
Yes.
Not how can I have influence over you,
right,
to dominate you or to be in charge of you, but how can I serve? And so servant leadership is what influence really is all
yes.
about. But it starts with asking, questions. It starts with so influencers. Sometimes we have this wrong perception that to be an influencer, you have to be an extrovert. I think influencers can be introverts.
Yeah.
They absolutely can. However, I will say this: we're both natural extroverts.
Yes.
Like, we're gonna walk into a room loud and in
Yep.
charge, and it's just who we are. But introverts, a lot of them, they think before they speak.
Yep.
Sometimes I speak and then I think. But introverts, I believe, can have strong extroverted qualities when they have a desire to be a leader. And one simple way to do that is to go first. Go first. So what do I mean by that? When we sit down in a class for the first time, extroverts, they're looking around, they're talking to people, but if you're introvert, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But for anyone, you sit down in a class, look at the person next to you and go first. Introduce yourself. Ask them their name. What, have you taken this class before? Maybe, I don't know, maybe they failed it or something. I don't know. Well, what do you, just go first and start asking questions. And that's a little bit more challenging for an introvert to do. However, that's what leaders do.
Yes.
Leaders find information. Influencers find out information, what's going on around me, and how can I serve the people around me. Influencers are always looking for a way to not necessarily like plug themselves into, insert themselves into the lives of everyone,
Sure.
but how can I serve? With people that have influence, there's a high level of care for the people around them. And so we're finding out simple information like, this person's family is going through a divorce, this person's aunt is sick, there's a need here, there's a need there. And I'm logging that information, and I'm keeping that information close to my heart, because one day I hope to have influence with that person, not over them, but influence with them to lead them to Christ.
Right.
And so in order to do that, I have to grow in relationship with them.
Yep. I think one of the biggest things with influence and relationship is you need to ask more questions about them than you are talking about you. Prime example is, I hear a lot of students that they want to take that first step, and are you new here? The answer is, that's a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
Start asking open-ended questions, and you can watch your relationships go from this to this.
That's good.
And you can watch influence go from here to here.
Yeah.
For example, if I were to ask Seth, and this is completely unrehearsed, Seth, what was your experience with Upshot Coffee in St. Louis?
Oh man, I love that coffee shop. The Break Shop location, it's amazing. They do everything well. They do pour overs well. They do. I got a cortado the last time I was there. I had this weird health wheatgrass turmeric shot that was kind of gross, but it was kind of cool at the same time. The vibes there are awesome. I sat down and I did some work. It was incredible.
Yeah. So out of that, and that was completely unrehearsed, but out of that one question, I found out he likes pour overs. I found out he likes cortados, and I found out he tried a weird health drink. So he might be interested in coming to a P7 club if he likes weird health drinks. Just kidding. But that's how that works. And all of a sudden now, when I come back into Seth, be like, Seth, what pour over have you been drinking lately? That's not a yes or no question.
Yeah.
That's a now you have to tell me question.
Yeah.
And that's what relationship and influence look like.
That's
because
good.
I'll never forget one of the first Sundays at our church in Kansas City when we were brand new there. Our pastor walked up to me, and I was, we were brand new, kind of sitting in the back, And he walked up to me and he goes, tell me about your week. It's the middle of service, like praise and worship's going on. And he goes, tell me about your week. And I was like, well, and I like completely started to share something. And I thought I made an innocuous comment. 6 months later, he goes, you remember that one time you told me about your week? And he was like, something you said resonated with me. And I was like, whoa.
What did I say?
Yeah, like I was like, what? I'm like, oh goodness, what did I say? But that relationship and that influence, that's and good. Immediately, instead of just thinking like, wow, that, you know, he had like, it was like, whoa, wait a second, like he really cares about who I am, and that's relationship and that's influence. Ask those open-ended questions. Tell me about, share with me, explain to me, like. Those are, and if you can get really good at those questions, you'll be really good in sales. That's how sales works. Like if you're thinking for next steps. But the reality of it is that one question I asked him of, what was your experience like at Upshot Coffee?
It wasn't, do you like coffee?
No.
What was your experience like at that coffee shop?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because if I ask him, do you like coffee? He's going to be like, yes, I love coffee. What's your favorite coffee? Okay, well then that's another closed-ended question where I'm not learning anything other than what I'm specifically asking.
That's good.
Seth, what was your experience like this week at school? Well, and then he starts to tell me, or Seth, tell me about your week. What did you do this weekend, Seth? Yeah. Like, and all of those questions now, I'm starting to get Seth talking, and I'm cataloging all of that so that way when I have a conversation with Seth, I remember you telling me about you had a rough weekend. Can you tell me about that? Is it something you can share with me? And then all of a sudden, well, no, I can't share it with you. Or yes, I can share it with you. And then he begins to share. And again, those questions can build relationship and influence like that.
So good.